Hello, welcome. Thanks for joining me. I was fortunate enough to be asked to give a review for a set of watercolor paints. And so this came today. It's Paul Rubens, and they're solid paints. And it's a nice little travel palette. So I'm going to open this up and share with you what's inside. I love the case right off the bat. It's so pretty. And this is great for if you want to paint while you're traveling. Very, very, very easy to carry around. Comes with 24 paints plus an extra black and ultramarine. So you have 26 total pans. And there's a couple little swatches. One already that tells you the colors, and the other one is a paper to the left there that I'm going to share with you how I'm going to paint each one once I get them unwrapped. But I want to show you the back. It has the little ring so you could put your finger through. I'm actually right-handed, so wrong hand. Put it in that hand, and then you have easy way to hold it while you're painting outdoors. So I'm gonna take all of these out and take each one out individually. And then I'm going to unwrap them. And then I'm also going to do a little sketch of a boat and use these watercolor paints on my sketch so I can share with you how beautiful they look. So you start with a white. I don't use white a lot. I'm going to speed this one up as well, so you're not going to have to watch me unwrap each and every one. And I filled them all up the way they came, and the two extra ones I left to the side, and I put them in the middle, but I don't like how the paints were loose like they are, so I ended up putting the extra two paints in the middle into one in each row. I put the ultramarine next to the ultramarine and the black one next to the black, and then it kept them, it was a lot tighter, so they didn't move around as much. So I'm going to take and just apply each one to this little swatch that they offered, which is really nice, and show you how vibrant each color is. Obviously the white's not going to show up, but OCD me had to put it down. You've got a flesh color. I'm going to speed this up as well, so you don't have to watch me do each and every one. Lemon yellow hue. Cad yellow. Gambage. Cad yellow pale. Cad red. Deep hue. Permanent rose. Alizmarin crimson. Purple lake. Cerulean blue. Cobalt blue. Ultramarine, you get two of those like I said. Intense blue. Indigo blue is actually my new favorite color for shadows. Sap green. Hooker's Green Light, Emerald, Burnt Sienna, great for skin tones, Raw Umber, Van Dyke Brown, Burnt Umber, and Ivory Black. Look at how vibrant they are. Beautiful pigment. And then I just want to share with you, there's the extra ultramarine and the black. I just wanted to double check. The writing on those little wraps was so small I couldn't read it. Even if it said what it was, I couldn't read it. So I just wanted to make sure those were the two extra colors that they put in there. I'm going to do a quick little sketch of this abandoned boat in my watercolor sketchbook that I absolutely love. And then I'll use the Paul Rubens paints and share with you how those work out. I've been playing with them all week and it's been fun. I've been doing some colorful things, and then I really love the colors. They're just really bright and beautiful. And this isn't the most colorful image, but it drew me in and I had to sketch this today. So I thought this would be a great image to share with you, and then to utilize the paints as well on top of it. Now, Paul Rubens is not a sponsor of mine. They gave me these free, which is so nice. So I would never say no to art supplies. So I was very happy to give them a try, and I really do like them. I'm making this boat, I think, a little bit longer, just because I'm using it across the open sketchbook. So as you can see, those tires are a lot closer together on the image, but I ended up putting them a little further because I wanted to kind of make it go across the sketchbook a little bit longer. So I kind of modified it a little bit. Sometimes you don't know what things are. Obviously, I don't know what these things are on top of this boat, but just sketching what I see. And now I'm going to start painting. I've got my size 0 Dugato mop brush. A little bit of water, paper towel on my lap. I've prepped my palette a little bit just so that the paint would spread out and not pool on the metal trays. And I'm going to go ahead and wet the sky first. once I get this all wet down. Oh, and I did, I'm going to spray your palette first with a little bit of spritz of water just to activate them. And I'm starting out with cerulean blue for the sky. I'm going to just dab out a few little happy clouds. And I'll make the top a little bit deeper. The sky's always a little bit darker and gets lighter as it gets to the horizon. So I'm going to mix up a little color for the land, but first I need to dry the sky because I don't want that to bleed into the sky. I want to keep that land separate. So I'll be back in a second. There we go. So now that my sky is dry, I can mix up a little bit of a raw umber and a little bit of a sap green. Trying to get a very muted, very light, kind of hazy background of that land. I tend to like to paint a little bit on kind of medium, not really light, not very, very bright, kind of in the middle is me. But with these colors that are in here, you can really do some really bright, bright paintings, which would be really pretty. Look at those juicy, juicy reds and oranges and the yellow. I do a lot of water paintings, which this particular water is a darker blue, so it works out, but more of I do like a turquoisey blue, which is not in here, but you can easily mix that. Or just add an extra little pan of your choice to this if it's missing any colors that you really, really like. And that would be the only one I would suggest. And I do like a Payne's gray instead of a black. So I think I would just add 2 more colors to this. Other than that, really, really happy with all these colors. They're just beautiful. Doing a cobalt blue for the water. Going to put in a little bit of the intense color. It's Intense Blue is the name of it. It's a beautiful shade. I think that's another one of the 2 blues that I really like. I mean, I love all the blues, but I've never worked with Intense Blue, and that is gorgeous. And I just really like indigo. I've actually worked with indigo before, but Intense Blue is really pretty. I'm going to come back to that once it's dry. I'm going to work on the sand. So to that color I have in there red on my palette already, I'm just going to mix up some different yellows, the gamboge, a little bit of the raw umber, and then I'm going to wet the sand first. I did not mix up enough. It's not going to spread across enough, but there we go. It's not the exact shade of the sand that's in the photo, but I wanted it a little bit brighter. Now I'll add, now that that's dry, I'll add a little bit more texture to the land so it doesn't look so flat. This is that indigo. I'm going to use that for all the tires. I didn't want to use black. I'm going to use the pen again. Once everything's dry and I'm done painting, I'm going to go back with the pen, and then that'll be my black. I just wet the brush down a little bit just to blend a little bit of that indigo in the water. Now I'm going to add the rust part of the bottom rusty part of the boat. There's a little bit of rust throughout the boat, and the bottom is the most. So I'm doing burnt sienna, and what was already on my palette, I just added that to it, and we'll just put that onto the bottom. A little bit of raw umber to that little area of whatever's holding that boat up. And then the same raw umber on the very, very bottom, where the heaviest part of that dark colored rust area is. I'll just add a little rust here and there. Want it a little bit lighter. Now the reddish part of the boat, I'm mixing up a little cad red and a little bit of burnt sienna. That's the Van Dyke brown for just a little bit darker in that front area there. Now, just going to go over all of that. The whole boat is grayish, so I'm just using what's on my palette. And blending that all together. Grabbing the black, ivory black that is, adding it to that little bumper in the front. It's the indigo for that beautiful shadow in that sand. The best part about painting is shadows. Everything looks so flat until you get a shadow in. It's the best part. That and highlights. I've always loved that. Makes the painting come to life. There's no shadow in the back there. It's just right from that point on. So anywhere I see shadow, I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And then once I go back in with ink, the shadow underneath those tires will really pop out. I missed a little bit of sky area right where that railing, behind that railing in the back, so I'm going to put that in. I didn't want that white. I don't want white paper there. I want to see sky there. And a little more rust. We've had because of all the hurricanes we've had in Florida, there's been so many boats that just get lifted with the water from where they sat, and then wherever they end up and the water goes down, that's where they sit. And sometimes, I mean, there's still boats sitting in areas they shouldn't, and it's been years since Ian. And then the last two hurricanes we just had, this morning on the news, they were lifting boats with cranes. Not an easy job. So I wonder what the story is with this boat. Make that a little bit darker red. Even though it's more of a reddish brown, I just wanted a little bit of brightness so you can see the beautiful colors of this palette. And I'm going to add a few spatters of indigo. And I'll let that dry, and then we'll go in with some ink. It's starting to come alive. Now everything's dry. I picked up my micro uni-ball pen, and I'm going to add in some extra details like that post with the chain to it. And then I see some railings here. I'm going to put those in. Another little railing towards the other side of the boat. And then I'll darken in the inside of the tire and the right outside of the tire, of all the tires. Now you can see, I love that. I love how that just makes everything stand out. I love pen and ink. This is my favorite part, to finish it up with some more pen. And then we'll grab our uni-pasca and do a few highlights on those tires as well. Just adding any bit of shadow that I see. And I grabbed my ultra micro uni-ball, and I'm just going to add a little bit of gravel, some little dots for sand, just a little bit here and there. And have to have a few seagulls. Just need a few more shadows. It's time for a few highlights. Grab the uni-pasca and then shake it up really good. I tried to put in some white caps, but didn't show. The paint was a little too light, so I decided to go back with the pen and just do some shadows in the water instead. And a little more sand and gravel. Here's my finished sketch. This one was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing this one for you. And I really like the Paul Rubens paint set. I highly recommend it. It has some really beautiful colors. The pigment is great. Blends beautifully. So yeah, I'll definitely be using it over and over and over. I want to thank them for sending it to me and allowing me to share it with you. So If you are a subscriber, thank you. If not, think about subscribing. I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful day and happy sketching.